A billionaire returned home earlier than planned and witnessed something his wife had done to the woman who raised him, his black adoptive mother. The electric Mercedes coasted silently up the winding driveway of the Malibu estate. David Thompson, CEO of Thompson Tech, had just canceled a last-minute meeting. After 3 grueling weeks in Japan, closing the most significant acquisition in his company's history, he had decided to come home early, ready to surprise his family. At 41, David had built an $8 billion tech empire, yet at this moment, his mind wasn't on success, money, or stock numbers. It was on the 67-year-old woman who had raised him. Ruth Williams wasn't his biological mother, but she was the only mother who mattered. When David had been 9 years old, abandoned by the system and unloved by the world, she had taken him in. A retired nurse living modestly in Chicago, she had worked extra shifts to pay for his programming classes, stayed up late to help with schoolwork, and fed him with love and encouragement when life felt impossible. David grabbed his keys and walked toward the side entrance that led to the gourmet kitchen. He had a plan: to surprise Ruth by making her favorite tea, Earl Grey with honey, the way she had taught him when he came home upset from school, bullied for being an orphan. But as he approached, harsh voices froze him in place. "I told you not to use the front entrance when my guests are here." Isabella's voice sliced through the air, sharp, cold, calculated. I'm sorry, Mrs. Isabella," Ruth whispered, her words trembling. "I don't care what you're sorry for. You're the help here, not the queen of the house. You think because my husband has some strange attachment to you that you can act like family?" David felt a chill run through his veins. Help? Ruth, the woman who had sacrificed decades of her life for him, called a maid. "I'm not a maid," Ruth whispered, dignity in her voice despite the fear. "David asked me to live here as family." Isabella laughed, cold, cruel, echoing in the marble kitchen. "Family? A black woman from Chicago who took in a child because the state paid her? Please, don't flatter yourself." David's hands went numb. The briefcase he had carried slipped from his fingers, landing silently on the Persian rug. Ruth had never once accepted payment from the state. She had only loved him when no one else would. "And another thing," Isabella continued, "stop leaving your hair in the bathroom drain. From now on, you'll use the basement bathroom." "But the basement has no heat," Ruth murmured. "Then freeze," Isabella said casually. "You're not a guest. You're tolerated." David cautiously stepped toward the kitchen entrance, and then he saw it. Ruth was wearing a cleaning uniform, the woman who had raised a billionaire, now forced to scrub floors. Memories flooded him. Ruth at 35, working 3 jobs to pay for his first programming competition. Ruth staying awake all night helping him with school projects. Ruth selling her jewelry to buy him his first computer. And now, in the mansion her sacrifices had built, she was being humiliated. David opened the mansion security app on his phone. If Isabella could do this with him here, what had she done while he was away for weeks? For 3 hours, he reviewed every piece of footage. Each video was worse than the last. Ruth forced to eat cold leftovers in the basement while Isabella dined on gourmet meals upstairs. Heating turned off during freezing nights. Letters and packages intercepted or thrown away. Fake episodes of confusion staged and recorded. Humiliation discussed openly in a private WhatsApp group with other wealthy wives. One video, 2 weeks old, shattered him completely. It was Ruth's adoption anniversary. She had prepared a cake, lit candles, set the table for David's return. Isabella came home, mocked her, threw the cake in the trash, and forced Ruth to clean everything before David arrived. When David called from New York to ask if Ruth enjoyed the surprise he had arranged, Isabella lied with practiced ease. "Oh, she loved it. She cried tears of joy. You're the best son a mother could have." But the footage told a different story. Ruth, alone in the basement, trembling as she ate a cold sandwich, humiliated, and Isabella posted old photos online to maintain appearances, creating a facade of family joy. David discovered even more. Isabella maintained a private WhatsApp group called Malibu Elite Wives, sharing Ruth's daily struggles with friends, laughing at her, plotting her removal. She tried using the master bathroom again, had to remind her where she belongs, Isabella wrote. Send her back to the ghetto, her friends replied. Make her disappear, another wrote. And Isabella responded, I'm collecting evidence. Soon, David will have no choice but to institutionalize her permanently. David realized the depth of the betrayal. This was not simple cruelty. It was a planned campaign to erase Ruth from their lives. That night, Isabella returned from the spa. David pretended to sleep as she whispered, David, we need to talk about your mother tomorrow. Some troubling things have happened while you were away. He mumbled, eyes closed, pretending to sleep. Every lie, every manipulation, every act of cruelty was being silently recorded. The next day, breakfast began. Ruth served coffee, trembling. Isabella performed the concerned wife again. Mom, you've been having episodes. Maybe professional help is necessary, she said with feigned sweetness. Ruth flinched. She wanted to defend herself, but she had learned that resistance only brought punishment. David's mind flashed back to Chicago. Age 12, cut lip, bullied. Ruth cleaned his wounds, whispered, Baby, some people try to make you feel small because they feel small inside. But you carry strength in you. One day, you will protect others like I protect you now. Now, it was David's turn. He contacted a private investigator, Marcus Rivera, a former LAPD detective specializing in domestic abuse and family fraud. Together, they collected forensic evidence, videos, photos, messages, everything Isabella had left behind. They discovered a conspiracy. Isabella was collaborating with 6 other elite wives, systematically abusing elderly and unwanted relatives. It was elder abuse disguised as family concern. Friday arrived, the charity dinner Isabella had planned to institutionalize Ruth. David waited silently. Isabella descended the stairs, radiant, confident. The Sunny Acres van is coming Monday. I've signed all the paperwork. David smiled calmly. You forged my signature. Her confidence faltered. And the federal authorities are aware, he added. Falsifying medical documents is a crime. Ruth stepped forward, standing tall, her uniform gone, dignity restored. David connected his phone to the large living room TV. Every cruel message, every humiliating video, every conspiracy exposed in high definition. Isabella gasped. Panic replaced her arrogance. You wouldn't dare, she whispered. I already did, David replied. Notifications from TMZ, LA Times, and Page 6 appeared on the screen. The Malibu elite wives exposed for elder abuse. Every friend, lawyer, and accomplice panicking. David delivered the final verdict. My lawyer filed for divorce. The prenup leaves you nothing, and the FBI is already investigating your medical fraud, Isabella begged. Pleaded, promised change. Ruth looked at her, unwavering. You don't have to change. You just have to leave my family's life. David smiled. Justice had been served. Isabella's empire of cruelty was exposed. A year later, David watched Ruth teach programming to underprivileged children at the community center he had funded in her honor. At 68, she radiated strength and vitality. Remember, kids, she said firmly, technology is a tool for justice. Use it to build bridges, not walls. Isabella, meanwhile, was shunned. A former socialite reduced to a quiet apartment, her reputation destroyed. Her friends publicly abandoned her, proving that privilege without character is temporary. David looked at Ruth. Why did we win? He asked. Because true strength isn't about wealth or power, Ruth said. It's about using what you have to protect those you love. And in that moment, the boy she raised, the man she created, stood as a shield, a strategist, and a protector. Love had conquered cruelty. Justice had been served. And the woman who had raised him finally received the life she deserved.
Did this story touch your heart? Subscribe now and join our journey bringing real voices and untold stories to light. Comment your thoughts. Your voice matters.